Thanks, Ramiko. In other news, the National Lead Institute hosting a graduation ceremony to highlight those participants who completed the MRT Facilitator certification course, one of the leading cognizant behavioral treatment programs for the offender and at-risk population. A number of individuals graduating from the National Lead Institute's Moral Recognition Therapy Facilitator certification course. The ceremony taking place at the Belinda M. Wilson Convention Center. Lead Institute President and CEO Troy Clark noting that this training is one of the leading cognizant behavioral treatment programs for the offender and at-risk population. Educator at Program Shore under the Ministry of Education, Ian Mora, and Senior Master at Jack Hayward Senior High School, Demetrius Walgus, sharing their experience after participating in the program.
One of the things that we learned here, and I think it is very timely, is that moral recognition therapy is about addressing those individuals in our society whom we've tried other things with and it has not worked. And it's not about feeling, it's not about what I think, it's not about anything like that. It is about placing the individual in a structured program which allows them to rethink how they see the world and take some responsibility for themselves. So it's not about giving people a pass, it's about giving them a different path to taking responsibility for their lives and choosing different outcomes.
Our traditional methods of dealing with students we considered at risk are no longer as effective as they used to be. And as someone said, one of the main reasons for it is because our kids are operating from a low moral standard. So the days of being the school bully is really over. It's time for those of us who are senior masters and other administrators and persons who are directly involved with students considered at risk to retool, to reconsider, to reimagine. And there is no better program that I'm aware of than the MRT program that we've been a part of.
Now bringing the keynote address was the Minister of Education, Technical and Vocational Training, the Honorable Glenys Hannah Martin.
The impact of the pandemic has reverberated to almost every sphere of life in our country. It will be important to undertake research in the days ahead so that we are able to gain a full understanding of the effects of the pandemic on education, on our economy, to understand the psychological effects as we are learning of reports globally of persons suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder amongst other psychological disturbances. While we must undertake our own research, I believe we may be able to safely assume that in some areas there are correlations between what is being seen globally to our own national situation.
The Education Minister noting that understanding the effects and long-standing damage of the pandemic is critical, but equally important is how will persons respond.
What intervention strategies will be deployed to ameliorate the damage caused? And how will we assess or measure the success of these interventions and strategies? What we do today, more precisely, what we fail to do today, will very likely have fundamental long-term impact on the quality of life of the Bahamian people. It is imperative that we collectively as a Bahamian people commit ourselves to doing all that is necessary to mitigate the negative effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is the unexpected obligation of this generation in all of our respective places. In other words, we must fight for the future of the Bahamian people, and most especially, and that's really what I'm speaking about today, the children of this nation.
The graduates of the program were then each awarded with certificates to complete their certification.